Hey everybody, back with part 2 of this recap for the 2019 SummerSlam box. And as promised, going to go through some of the inserts in this video. Now most of these inserts don't really look like much, but personally I like going through them because they had a lot of like old school wrestler images, old school moments and whatnot. So it was a fun trip down memory lane. So these are the SummerSlam All-Stars with the old school Triple H there. Or Hunter Hearst Helmsley as he was called at the time. Not sure if you can see that, but there's like a creepy looking fan in the crowd there. So you get a few different versions of Triple H. That was a ladder match against The Rock. This was much later. Here he is with Shawn with the watered down version of DX. And this is a cool Undertaker here. I was looking at this and I was wondering if it was the match where he had with the other Undertaker, the imposter Undertaker. So I looked at the back, and cool thing about the back is it tells you like specifically what SummerSlam it was from and what was going on. So pretty cool. A lot of cards nowadays don't even give you a reason to read the back, but I'm going to go back and read the backs on all of these. And here's a more recent Undertaker. Still doing it, believe it or not. We got some Bret Hart. Nice to get some Bret stuff. He was my guy in the early 90s. There he is with the hot pink. Really like this one here with Bret and Jim the Anvil. Some of my earliest wrestling memories are of these two guys as heels with Jimmy Hart as their manager. Even then, even as a kid, like, even though I wasn't supposed to like these guys because they were bad guys, I just always found them like really intriguing, so always nice to see cards or images of them together. And this I did not remember at all. Here's Bret. This is much later. This is from 2010, so I don't even remember him wrestling with WWE at that time. So I'm going to have to go on the network and check that moment out. Got some different Edge variations through the years. Not even sure how many cards there are in this set. I got a ton of them here, and I don't even think I'm even close to the whole set. But not going to complete this set. I'll just put these with the individual wrestler pages in the binders. There you got Edge and Christian. And I was reading this one. This is from the first ever ladder match, which was at SummerSlam, which I thought the first ever ladder match was at WrestleMania, but I guess not. I guess it was at SummerSlam. First ever TLC match, not first ever ladder match. But yeah, first ever TLC match. Now these next inserts, again, they don't really look like anything special, but again, just more fun memories. These are the greatest matches and moments. There you got Mankind in the Boiler Room Brawl match. Definitely remember that one. It was kind of unique at the time. They started the match in the back. Don't really remember this one. Defeats Triple H in the steel cage. The old school blue cage back there. I do remember this here, the wedding with Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth. And I didn't watch this live though, because this time I still didn't have cable, so I couldn't order the stuff on pay-per-view. So I had to wait a few months and wait for the video store to get the tape in, then rent the videotape. So yeah, that's how far back I go. But yeah, I'd rent the videotapes and sometimes make copies of them onto blank tapes. The struggle was real back then. You really had to hustle to get your wrestling content. But yeah, that was one of the moments I definitely remember. Here you got Kurt Angle defeats Eddie Guerrero. Don't really remember that. This I do remember. Rey Mysterio defeats Eddie Guerrero in a ladder match. The main reason I remember this one is because it was for custody of Rey Mysterio's son. That's just wrestling goofiness at its best right there. You got custody for a child up for grabs in a wrestling match. But yeah, gotta love it. That's just pro wrestling right there. Yeah, very memorable moment. Here you got some HBK stuff. Defeats Vader. I remember this match too. I remember even as a kid, like I could recognize like when a match was really good technically, and those two put on a really good match. Always thought that was kind of an underrated match, but I guess it's not underrated since it's in the greatest matches insert set. But yeah, just remember those guys putting on a really good show that night. And Vader in general was like a really underrated big man. Got another HBK here, and definitely remember this one too. This is when he came back after being gone for a few years. And around this time, I wasn't really ordering many pay-per-views, but I ordered that one because he was coming back. I wanted to see if he had anything left, and him and Triple H put on a great match there in a street fight. Yeah, that kind of got me back into ordering some more pay-per-views after that because of that good rivalry they had around that time. These I don't remember too well because, again, this is around the time I didn't have cable, so it wasn't really following it as much as I wanted to. So there you got Warrior defeating Rick Rude. You got Texas Tornado defeating Mr. Perfect. I do remember some really good Mr. Perfect matches at SummerSlam, but not this one in particular. And I'll do a few more of these. Got some more recent ones here. Got Charlotte defeating Sasha Banks. Not sure which time that was because they fought so many times. It's crazy. This was recent. This was 2016 and I can't even remember it. But yet stuff from like the early 90s I remember like it was yesterday. And here you got Finn Balor winning the first ever Universal title. I remember that because I remember he had to release the title the next night because he got hurt during that match. And this match here, this is one of my favorite all-time matches there. British Bulldog versus Hitman in 92. Again, couldn't see this one when it was on pay-per-view, but I think about a year later, I bought like a compilation tape. I think it was actually like the greatest SummerSlam matches at the time, and I remember this being the final match on the tape, and I just watched it over and over again. I don't think it's quite as good as some people try to make it out to be. Like some people would try to rank it like as one of the top 2 or 3 matches of all time. I don't think it's quite that high, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Again, those guys put on a great show, great moment at the end of the match too. And here you got Lex Luger against Yokozuna. Around that time is when they were really pushing Lex really hard, trying to make him like the next Hulk Hogan or something, but then they got cold feet, I guess, and backed off, never gave him the belt. And I'll end this insert set with this one here. Stone Cold wins the Intercontinental Championship. I was looking at this one. I was trying to remember if this was when he fought Owen Hart. So I just checked it back and it confirmed that it was. And so again, I instantly vividly remember that. That was when Owen Hart gave him a spike pile driver and really messed up his neck. And Stone Cold wasn't getting up. Owen Hart did his best to like stay in character. He was like cursing at the crowd or whatever, but you could see in his face he was really worried, kept looking back at the ref, kept looking back at Steve, and again, Steve was just laying there, wasn't getting up. So you knew something was really wrong there, and as it turns out, Owen just let Stone Cold get him like in the worst roll-up ever because Steve was supposed to win the match. But yeah, very scary moment watching that. Steve is very fortunate to still be walking today. Now these are my favorite inserts from the product. Those other insert sets I showed, like I said, it was fun looking through them, but not really going to concern myself with completing them. But this insert set I want to complete. These are the SummerSlam posters through the years. So I'm guessing they have them for every year of SummerSlam. This one's from 2014. So yeah, cool that they tell you on the back what year the poster's from because some of them don't say it on the front. This reminds me of an old Skybox poster insert set. I think it was 93-94 Skybox basketball. Always like those too. But yeah, only got a few of these in here. So gotta track the other ones down. This is from 2018 SummerSlam. This one has a bunch of people on it. That was 2017. This one's pretty cool here. Got Brock and Taker. Got the Brooklyn Bridge on the background. They were doing SummerSlam in Brooklyn for like 3 or 4 years in a row. This was the first year in a while that they went somewhere else. They went to Canada this year. That was in 2015. And you also get a few of these Ronda Rousey inserts, which I think you got to get these through like different products. That's usually how they do it with these highlight sets or tribute sets, whatever they call them. I'm still working on the Macho Man one from a few years ago. Some people want crazy money for them. But yeah, I got 4 of the Ronda Rousey ones here with Natalya. And with Natalya and Trish. So I'm gonna end this one right here, but I will be doing one more video for this box recap here, because I still have a bunch of these types of base. I showed the other types of base in the other video with the like different event moments, but really like the looks of these base, so wanted to do a video for those. So I'll be talking to you guys again soon.